Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India. All this day, October 15, 2021, Friday. We'll talk about issue of quality and safety, civil field engineering, life engineers, quality and accessible, SHE designs, construction methods, contracts, organizations, communication, coordination, why be behind quality of standard material. Same talk continues. I don't want to switch the certificates, but I just try to refresh all every time that certificates mean something, and if we don't care for that, we cannot achieve. We have to understand our our we have to understand our requirements, and our requirements are these: quality SHE approach. This is very important issue for everyone. I was talking about AnnexSL, contracting general, and my topic was RCC buildings construction template, and we had gone to its can say operations, etc. We reached up to operations in this way, covering all clauses, and operation was one clause where I was talking about how to operate certain bids for contracting company. And we were somewhere big negotiations. First of all, let me repeat what is bid, just for refreshing. What is bid or tender? We know that it's something given in writing to based on some proposals, based on some project requirements. Suppose I want to get some job as a contractor, then I have to respond to certain proposal as offer. I can do this job for this consideration, and this consideration means price. Generally, generally on such projects, fixed price, we call it lump sum fixed price. It is general trend all over world that for some scope of work, documents are given, details are given, and we call that very significant in this way. These documents are very significant, means these documents contain complete details of project A to Z. Nothing is concealed, and if something is missing, it can be demanded. That is called tender document or bid document. Bid documents are immense, particularly for building projects, because there are so many items, so many buildings maybe in one project, infrastructure there may be. So we can say lot documents, volumes of documents for major projects, for you can say hundreds and hundreds drawings, hundreds and hundreds pages of bid documents like conditions of contract, also specifications, standard drawings, and you can speak whatever you say, list it, and you shall find those papers as contract or bid documents. Before a submission of bid, it is responsibility of bidder to take care of every document. Before submitting that bid, submission means acceptance of bid, that I will take care of this bid if you accept this. I mean, if client accept this. Client means owner. If owner accepts that bid, this is my price, then owner can award that work to me, and I have to do that work for that fixed price, and whatever documents are listed on that bid. You can say this is not just to buy something and sell something. It's not that. It is complete commitment. Before submission of bid, it is responsibility, it is duty, it's obligatory on that party, bidding party, or later on to be contracting party, to care about each and every document, each and every requirement, Each and every page of specifications, drawings, and all other documents that are made part of that bid, and also a bond is submitted with that. That bond is called bid bond or tender bond, which means a binding on that party, that offering party, bid party, to take care of this if it is awarded. In case I submit bid and I change my mind later on, after submission I am not interested in that work, but by chance work I get. If I don't want to do that work, in that case my bid bond shall be forfeited, shall be confiscated, and reputation put at stake. This point we must keep in mind. It's question of contract, and it's not sale purchase contract. It is work contract. Contract to do whatever is demanded to be done. It is complete detailed engineering, of course construction engineering, contract engineering, that applies to such bids. I'm talking only for construction. When we talk of EPC, that will be further more and more significant. When we talk of construction, in this case, FIDIC Red Book applies. You know what is Red Book? This is standard of contract conditions for construction contracts based on lump sum fixed prices, fixed price lump sum basis. And once it says fixed price is agreed, there can be no change on that fixed price, and there can be no change on scope of work covered under those documents or those contract. We have to be very serious about this. We cannot play with term contract, because contract says there are two parties in that contract. One party is owner, we call employer, other party is contractor, which is called, of course, contractor. Though both are contracting parties on that contract. Employer is party 1, contract party 1, and contractor is contract party 2. Both agree for simple sentence: you do this job, contractor, you do this job, I pay you this much. And contractor agrees, okay, I shall do this job, you pay me this much. And both bind time limits. Within this time, this work must be delivered, and whatever other conditions are there, all conditions apply. So we can say it is very serious issue. It's a serious issue in a sense that contract requires to be performed. It cannot be just considered a game. You cannot consider a game. It's something to be done. It's to be done in a defined period. It's to be done under defined conditions. It is to be done under specifications. It is to be done under compliance of all technical requirements, engineering requirements, design requirements. It is to be done. Means it's a long process. Safety system should be taken care of from start to end. Quality requirements must be taken care of from start till end. So you can say it's complete engineering. Otherwise you may say, depending on size of project, what strength of staff, what strength of workers, what strength of machines are to be engaged for that work, it depends. This means, as we said in planning, and also we said on the operations of bid, we explained, we deliberated. Is it easy? Yes, it can be easy for very simple job, maybe one room contract. You have to construct one room, or you have to construct one whole tower and many towers, or likewise one city, one town, one complex, or we have to construct some plant city, industrial city. It depends on what level of standard you are, what level of honor you are. But principles are same. Red book is same, silver book is same, green book is same, white book is same. There are so many names for these standards, texts of contracts. When you read them, maybe you get better idea. Fresh people may not have that much idea on this until they are exposed. They expose themselves in field of contract. Contracting is very difficult job. In fact, it's not that easy because you have to produce something based on others what they demand, and their demand must be fulfilled. All demands, provided these are feasible practically. Contract is signed, contract is executed under provisions of contract acts. Every country has contract act, and contract act means there must be clear provisions of consideration, there must be clear provisions of scope of work, and there must be clear conditions under law, within law. No condition should, you can say, go opposing law or contravening laws. This is also required. If certain conditions within contract go oppose opposite to law of contracts, those can be set avoid. That's also true. Contracts are not simple contracts. When you do long-term contracts, complicated contracts, millions and millions pounds or sterlings or dollars or billions rupees are involved. This means it's a life question of both parties as well as all those who are related to those parties. It may be contracting all personal, it may be employees all personal, it may be engineers all personal, and ultimately it is public who is ultimate client through owners. Owner may not be absolute client but a representative of public. Ultimately, nothing can be done for personal use on such mega projects. It's for public, it's for nation, it's for world. Now we are talking of some we talked of some operations in this regard. All these what I discussed, what I deliberated about the strength of contract, power of contract, and this is power of contract, that we have every opportunity before closing our bid and submitting that to honor or submitting it online. We have every opportunity to consider once, twice, thrice, depending on our confidence as a contractor, as a bidder, depending on how much we feel, how much we have options whether to go for this or not to go for this. Are we able to do this job? Do we have enough capability, technical capability, commercial capability, and funding, etc.? And do we have enough personnel or can we recruit them? All depends on various points, and therefore I stress very much on operation issues, operation fields, because without operations, it is bidding operations I am talking of. Bidding operations means we have to do this bid within fixed time. Yeah, there can be extensions due to many reasons. There can be many questions, answers from both. Contract raises many queries to engineer or through engineer to owner. And these queries are technical, these queries can be commercial, these queries can be something else. Or queries can be related to practical activities. This is related to technical activities. This is related to specifications and drawings. There can be one query and there can be 100 queries. It depends on size, contract, and how much we study. Generally, you have seen that without studying, if you do contract, you will put yourself in problem, because only those who can view problems, they can understand it. Experienced contractor or contracting staff has enough input already to know. Means it's not necessary that you should go into each and every content of bid. Generally, you will know because of experience what should be there, what should not be there. Should this point be considered? Should this technical point not be considered? Is the scope of work clear? First point should be that. Is the scope of work clear? That's very important point. Pros means definition of project, definition of proposal. What we have to do. Until we are clear about that, we cannot comprehend some bid. Sometimes we are not very serious, we are not very intelligent people. You say, okay, I want to get this job at whatever cost. If some company thinks like that, some organization thinks like that, I think that is not the way. So I've seen many people, many newcomers, many entrepreneurs who just want to enter everywhere. Means you just want to get something, your name into that department or into that office or that main organization, a private government or a corporate organization. I'm working in this company. No, that's not it. That means it is your job. Okay, you can expand your wings. There's no hard and fast rule, but contract again. I say I still remember some person used to speak. This is a contract. It's no joke. Contract is a powerful word. Contract does not mean contractor is bound. Contract means owner is bound. Contract means everybody that has to link with those people are bound, directly or indirectly. Just like you say contractor is bound because contractor is prime party. Employer is also prime party. Employer is also bound. Employer has to pay whatever agreement has been made for, whatever work has been done. Employer has to pay. Employer is bound to pay. Employer cannot say, I don't have money. If you don't have money, why did you start this project? So there is a provision nowadays in contract conditions itself that contracting party has every right to question provisions of funding for this project. Can you show me what is funding? From where will you do you have the funds? That contractor has a right to ask. Previously might be this right was concealed. And contractor was considered secondary party, means oh you don't ask anything, I am client, I have a right to say. Now it doesn't work because it is equity based contract. If I am going to work for you, I do not lose money because you don't have money. That's not way money, right? I have to know. So contractor has been upgraded to that extent that you can question. Show me availability of funds or what is source of funding, and then I should have confidence that I will get my money. And you also have a right to know about me as a contractor, as a bidder, whether or not I shall be able to work successfully on this. You have solid right to know my technical capability, my commercial capability, my, you can say, performance capability, what I have done so far in my past projects, how many projects I have done, whether it's successful or not successful. You have a right to know about that. So you can say rights have been widened. These parties are equal parties, these are not unequal. We generally think in our country contractor is nothing, contractor is just contractor. I don't accept this. Contractor, actually both are contractor. Employer is also a contractor, and of course contractor is contractor. You can say contractor is, we have used this name. Contract party 1, contract party 2, we can say contract party 1 is owner, and owner doesn't work directly, owner works through independent party, and that's engineer. Engineer is not party on that contract. Of construction is a different party, but he just like automatically acts as third party for both. So one party is contract and one party is owner and one party is contractor. Party 1 and party 2 both are bound on contract, both are moved together until project is delivered. An environment of confidence is created, an environment of trust is created. It doesn't matter if you do not know personally contractor, contractor knows personally owner. It doesn't matter as far as contract is concerned, because both are bound by contract conditions, and contract conditions means this is a kind of law. You can say it's a kind of charter between two parties, contracting parties, both contracting parties, party 1 and party 2. It's a kind of charter that defines rights, responsibilities, obligations, duties, privileges, whatever you can say, by virtue of professionalism. Both parties are bound together without any support or without any, you can say, undue advantage. Both have their responsibilities to be disposed, and that's what is beauty of contract. I'm your relative or no relative, that doesn't matter. But as far as contract is concerned, I have to do my job, you have to do your job. I think that's a straight way. Or if contract is not used, then we can do what's ourselves. You see, if employer has enough establishment, employer has thinking approach that I can do this job myself. Why should I profit to contractor? Contractor may get 10%, 6%, 5%, 4%, 10%, 15% profit on this contract. Why don't want to give profit to contract? Let me do myself. That can be a situation that used to be in government before, and was called departmental works, or you can say you work yourself. If I say I can work myself, engineer decides, okay, I'll do myself. No harm. There is no such law that can bar you. Then you can also do yourself. There's no hard and fast rule for that. But only point, you have to organize everything. Means here you are dependent on contract, the materials and workers and machines and everything. Contractor had experience, the contractor expertise to know about that, and he could organize. If you can organize yourself as owner's personnel, owner can organize itself, every resources, availability, every work how to be done. There is no hard fast rule that you have to go to contract, but don't forget that when you buy something, you have to procure something, you have to do everything. You have to procure workers, you have to procure materials, you have to procure machines, you have to do design work, you have to do everything. Ultimately, if this is not contract, there will be another contract, and that's called material delivery contracts, service contracts. Means you cannot get rid of contracts. Maybe you have to buy 200 materials, 300 materials types, and you have to buy from various vendors. Means not one, not two, maybe 300 vendors you have to buy from, or 50 vendors you have to buy from. And you have to recruit people also, personal, you have to hire machines or you buy machines. So it's same thing as means indirectly you will work for contracts indirectly. Only way is that this lump sum main contract goes to some other services contract or material delivery contract, supplies contract. This point you have to very well understand. So you cannot avoid contracts even if you want to do yourself. There's no such compulsion. Only for better controls we say give this work to contractor, because contractor is a special person. Contractor has experience of that types of projects, and contractors can save our time. Contractors are efficient one. We have to scrutinize CVs of contractor because credentials of contract. It can be pre-qualification, you can call that, but it doesn't matter what's this. I should know as much as possible about my future contractor, and if contractor can give me that assurance that you can say I'm quite capable, means some submissions are two types, as we know, I have discussed, means technical statement, technical submission, commercial submission. Previously both were club, but now of course they are kind of club, yet still they are independent. Technical submission is such a statement which can assure, which can say, speak something. Contractor has to express itself, it knows every aspect of this contract, and that's called technical submission, which have many chapters in that. Chapters or contents you can call them. Means what sources I have, I can use. What is this program? Do I understand? What is schedule of this? Have I understood this? I have to define. I know your job. What I know scope of work. I know from where metals are available according to your list you have provided, or you have not provided any list. Then I can propose how much strength of people or workers I have to use, how many staff I have to employ, and what are you going to say, whatever schedules I have to give, whatever subcontracts I have to use, whatever suppliers I have to use, or services I have to use. Likewise, you can say how I have to work. This is my style, is my procedure to work, is my sequence to work, execution strategy, call it. Histograms you can give. This is strength in each month, or we will use for our machines or for equipments of workers or staff. Likewise, you can say it's a kind of submission that tells everybody you are capable of understanding this project and you can do this project. And likewise, similar projects you have done in past, or now you are steady, your status is that you are doing many projects, but you have to prove that you can do this project smoothly without being delayed, without being others project coming to your way. And that's why capability is important. Maybe after 6 months you are free from those projects, and by that time we can award you this project. Maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months it takes. So it says that you have capability of, you can say, national level or international level of human resources, and you have technical backup, you have enough engineers and foremen and other trained staff. All these points we have to consider. And what is your question, what is your answer we gave you, do you understand that? And of course then, whatever price you give, are you happy with this price? Can you be, because engineer is also he has a duty, it has a duty to analyze whether this price contractors offered is justified or unjustified. If it's unjustified, it can cause problem for employer, for project itself. Means if it is within limits, or you can say if there is a difference of 20% or 15%, it will cause problem because contractor maybe miss something, or just because contractor are interested to get this job, contractor price low, and that price can cause a problem to project itself. And the question is bids and bid negotiations, and that was a part of negotiations. We have to talk to contractor as an engineer, as an owner, in each and every respect. Means maybe price is not correct. I have seen many projects whereby error prices are reduced or overloaded. When it's overloaded, no problem, your project shall go away. You will not get project because other party will be there justified and know what project is, how pricing is done. Every quantity engineer knows how pricing is done, how quantifications are done. There can be very little chances that there's a big difference between one quantity engineer and other quantity engineer if both work together on the same project. There's no way means it goes on like that. We have to understand this point. Quantification is not a problem. Understanding the project, everybody understands. They are all professionals in every company, and they know. But what is that? It is when they are all equal, they are same. Price is an issue. Price is an issue, and this is an issue. Means it's not complete issue. First, we have to establish our capability, our consistency. We are able to do this job better than anybody else, or we have this special point in this value addition. We can say we are going to give better time. We can say we can save time. We can do it faster, or we can give better approach on this, or we can an alternative proposal which can benefit you. Benefit you means benefit honor. All such points are there, though it doesn't take much on that. First, you have to experience that one. You can say that we can give discount also in future. So many commercial, so many technical, so many contract issues are there which can be considered specifically, but generally we can say bid that is quite required. Normally it is called unqualified bids or without any qualification. Maybe people are confused about this. What is qualification on bids? Qualification doesn't mean educational qualification. This means whatever details are provided to contractor, we have to comply with that. We abide by that. Won't change anything. We're not going to strictly write some condition that if you do this, we'll do this. That's not going to be part of bid. Bid should be normal. It should comply, abide by all requirements of contract which are given in normal. Yes, additionally you can propose something else. Because alternatively we have this proposal. If you accept this proposal, we will give you benefit. That can be called unqualified bid. These are reservations. Are there reservations? We on this point we change our idea. On this proposal we have different type of activities or different type of proposal, or we can do something else for this. We can give another type of design on this wish. So it can vary in that way, but that's not essential. Generally, construction contracts are done without designs. It happens, and design doesn't come as scope within contract. And if it is best, you can do normally whatever is given to you to do, and it should be done smoothly, expeditedly, with good provisions of material, with good provisions of machines, with good skills your staff, workers. All these are considered as part of your commitment, as part of your proposal. So what I said bid negotiations, I have written here operations. I'm talking operations, bid operations. Bid is opened by engineer. You can say a submitted bid. It is shall open. There may be different openings or same opening. We are taking very normal. Bid is opened by engineer on date appointed for that, and we prepare a list of bidders. There may be 5 bidders, 10 bidders, whatever number of bidders are. It depends on the interest of those bidders. And it's not necessary that bid be awarded to bidder who got quoted minimum prices. There's no such law. But it's only practice. Why should I pay more when same service is given to me? Same service, equivalent service is given to me by lesser price. Everybody thinks that, but it should be within limits. You cannot say 20-30% difference is there, and then it creates a doubt that maybe construction jeopardized at some point. That risk cannot be taken because we have to further dispose of this construction to those people who will buy this construction, who will or processing plant. I can't commission that. There's no meaning of this then. So but keep this factor in mind. So it's not necessary that bids be awarded to bidder who quoted minimum price, but this is part of practice only. Engineer examines and scrutinizes all bids received. Yes, this duty of an engineer to do that on behalf of honor, on behalf of client. You can say the list is prepared by engineer to evaluate bidders under negotiations, considerations one by one. Minimum quote bidder is prioritized for negotiation. That's remember a priority, not a mandate, but is a practice, because why should we pay more when we can do same service either by another trustworthy contractor? We have to trust that one because that person has given constructability, and if we don't have surety on that, we can verify that. We can go to sites and see what work he has done. We can ask questions and raise. We can refer to previous clients or previous engineers. So we can say we have to consider these points very well, and these are not simple points. We have to consider these points in clarity. So what we say about this is that you can say along with prime or main bid, alternative bid also can be examined simultaneously. Notes are made for all bids regarding bid in order of submission, or if certain deficiency exists. Whatever deficiency exists, Bidder is asked to clear it or clarify it in a defined time for further considerations. After making complete review and scrutiny of bids, bidders are called for further negotiations, which stage leads to award the bid to one best bidder. Later on, engineer makes a report for bid award for owner's consideration, and final decision is taken by owner on engineer's recommendations. So stage comes that after having gone through all this process, we call it negotiations. It doesn't mean only financial negotiations, this means technical negotiation. Maybe method is not clear to engineer wants to discuss on that, engineer wants another method of execution, or something else is also agreed. Whatever conditions is given, that can be discussed with. Sometimes what happened with was prepared long back and some metals are not available. Engineer knows that and engineer can raise for clarification, or even contractor can raise issue at this stage that there's some practical problem and we have to resolve it now, or later on it will cause problem. Award is final stage. It doesn't, once we are in very advanced stage of negotiations, award is just a formality in that case. It means it's not done with one party, it's done with two or three parties together. And of course, if one escapes, other parties must be available. If second also escapes, then one more party, a standby, should be available. We have to do contract awarding, and that's really a big requirement, a big responsibility, because this award is meant for whole duration of contract, currency of contract, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, 4 years. Depends on what strength of contract is, what quantity of contract is, how much time it will take, what are obstructions that come, and we have to win over the obstructions. These points we have to consider. Having considered engineer's recommendations, owner approves award of contract and worked out some, duly instructing engineer to issue letter of appointment to you can say contractor. Engineer has such issues an appointment letter with approved lump sum for carrying out complete scope within contract and prior to this condition. The one point I have to mention here specifically and regarding this contract price, because generally BOQs are prepared, bill of quantities are prepared either as a part of bid itself or contractor prepares on BOQ. Whatever could be the case, if we depend on provided documents, provided BOQ, then we have to take care of that also, because there may be many BOQs of found same. There may be 14 structures, there may be 14 BOQs, there will be 2 structures, 2 BOQs. Likewise, there could be a number of BOQs, and items are generally same or different in each. Items and building works are involved are generally same in all these BOQs, and there can be difference in, you can say, external works, there can be difference in infrastructure works. The separate BOQs are available. Likewise, there are so many items, preliminaries are there, and which are having another BOQ. You can say there may be many number of BOQs depending on size and scope of contract, and these are done separately, not clubbed together. And of course, one page is available at end of contract, which all BOQs, quantities or amounts are brought forward to that page, final page. Now, point here I want to discuss is mathematical requirement on this or clerical requirement on this. Sorry. Generally, what happens when items are similar on same project, for example, RCC or tiling or whatever it is, finishing item or steel work or whatever it is, items should be clearly nomenclatured. Explanations should be expressly defined, and rates are explicitly done. Engineer has a right to raise question on any price, whatever. Means I want to see this price, how did you calculate this? And you cannot say that this is secret, because only engineer shall try to know on its own satisfaction or owner satisfaction. Because there can be some price which can be very heavy, and practically it seems that this is not reliable price. Now there is a clerical calculation also. There may be hundreds of items. If you take all BOQs, there may be many items of RCC work, many items of structuralist work. Likewise, you price them. Now you have reached a solution of lump sum. This is total amount. Now that total amount cannot be changed There are two conditions. One condition is that engineer discovers during scrutiny, because when they do clerical work on or the summation, they check all items, that items are okay. If there is an error in calculation on one item, that can lead to problem because it impacts on total price. Now you have agreed for this price, that this is price I am going to get for this, I am claiming. And if engineer scrutinizes that, engineer finds that this price is higher than what contractor submitted, contractor offered, whatever varying amount is there. But engineer has no right to accept your higher price because you have submitted that price as an offer. Engineer can ask you, Mr. Contractor, there's an error in this. This is error, you check yourself. This gives you this price, but we are bound by your offered price. Still, are you interested to go ahead? I think every contractor and bidder would say, I have no problem. You can reduce, we will accept this price. No problem. Price cannot be increased. Similarly, if there is deficiency, I mean to say offered price is higher, then it should be usual. I mean, when this checking is done, engineers find that this price is higher, it should be lower. Then also contractor has to accept lower price in this case, because you have caused a calculation error. In that case also it was calculation error, but he had limitation of lump sum price. Here, because your price is to be reduced, engineer cannot speak in favor of contractor that you have to reduce this price because of calculation. These are two different ways, means that price can be reduced but that price cannot be increased until both parties agree. Though it's practically not possible that price can be increased because there's another party having different price, then it becomes their right first. So you can say it's a different kind of negotiation, that price quoted, generally price offered is very important item, and engineer is bound by that price and by reduction of that price if it's required according to calculation, not by enhancement on that price. If enhancement or is a major, because sometimes it happens somebody forgets some item, it is understood that that item is included somewhere else because it's lump sum contract. Even it's not defined in BOQ, but it's defined on drawings, it's defined on specifications, it's defined on scope of work, it's defined on distribution of responsibility. That's defined there. We cannot go oppose that. So it's really very, very complicated situation here. There can be difference of millions, there can be difference of thousands, there can be difference of lakhs, there can be whatever difference. Means if you want to run this contract, if you want to get this contract, you have to accept these conditions. This is natural condition. Price cannot be higher than what is given. It can be lower if calculation requires that. And for that, contractor or would-be contractor has to be ready, because it's calculation error. Contractor also cannot do anything on that. Though this time it is all software calculated sums, yet there are chances that quantities are wrongly infilled. Data entry of quantities, data entry of calculation somewhere is erroneous. This situation can lead, calculation cannot be wrong, I know, but data can be wrong. Misinterpretation of drawings, misinterpretation of specifications can be there. So we have to keep these points in mind. We cannot say everything is perfect until we have conducted complete scrutiny on that issue, and that scrutiny is very significant. So we can say when you reach that stage that everything has been investigated, everything has been technically and commercially thought of, many rounds of negotiations have been over, matter has reached finally to honor through agreed statement by both engineer and contractor. The contractor agrees for everything that engineer has recommended, and that in interest of contract to start, issue goes to owner, who has to pay, who is responsible for payment on every stage of progress. and then final decision can be taken that this party is to be given contract or not to be given contract, or some other party is to be considered prior to giving this party a chance. And we can say, if everything is positive and favorable for that party and for employer or owner, contract can be declared awarded. Appointment letter can be issued to that party, that bidder, that you are finally given this contract and you have to start work immediately. This is price of your contract. This is date of start and this is date of completion. And you have to contact our this representative engineer for this purpose, who will further define other courses on this project, and we shall execute this contract at later stage within so many number of days, and that execution shall be counted from this day of award. And you are given time, this much time, to start this work and provide performance bond, because your tender bond or bid bond has expired now, or in laws you are given performance work, you are given contract work, so you have to produce performance bond rather than this bond you can take back or it can be null and void, and within so many days you have to give performance bond of this much amount, and you have to also provide insurances of workers, insurances of all whatever according to law exists, and start contracting within so many days. And if you fail to do so, then we will look after something else. We will go to another party. And this is general. It's of course threatening stage is not doesn't exist. So you can say engineer as such issues an appointment letter with approved lump sum for carrying out complete scope within contract. Name of resident engineer is also included within this letter if it specifically required, so that contractor would practically deal with resident engineers. Shall work on behalf of engineer with all delegated powers as mentioned. Appointment letters maybe conventionally or by practice a time of 7 days is allowed to contractor to commence with contract works. Later, complete contract is executed within a given time limit, whereas contract is required to produce a performance bond of defined sum from a designated bank. Contract is also directed to make all submission as required by contract conditions, copies of which are either available with contractor as bid document or could be provided to contractor for reference. Now it's contractor's responsibility. It's the contractor's responsibility to commence with mobilization in line to execution statement included within bid documents. Day on which appointment letter is issued may be considered contract commencement day, or some other date appointed defined on letter itself could be referred to as contract commencement day, theoretically, contractually, to name it a practical contract baseline. Though there is another baseline, but let us say this is announcement line, site mobilization to commence contract scope. So we have gone through practical stage here. We have gone to a stage that process of negotiation, and before that process of contract or tender bid, both are over. Technical bid whatever we have given, commercial bid whatever we have given, both have been accepted because contract is awarded. We are bound, contractor and owner both are bound by conditions of contract, by all contract documents, by each and every document. When we sign contract, we can say this is execution of contract, and not only contract document or contract form is signed, not only that, we have to sign 1 page or 2 page or 3 pages of contract document. This price, this is time, this is limit, like appointment letter issued to contractor. We have to agree on each and every document, each and every page. It may be it may be contract form, commercial form, it can be contract general conditions, it can be contract data, it can be contract particular conditions, it can be drawings, it can be all other documents included, all communications affected during negotiation and before that, whatever questions and answers, and all those documents which are included now as bid and bid negotiation or bid before submission or bid, whatever questions and answers were allowed, were accepted or rejected, all those constitute finally in one stage as bid or contract documents. It can be voluminous. There can be hundreds and hundreds of drawings of all disciplines. There can be specifications, volumes, civil, electrical, mechanical, and others, all volumes. There can be many more designs, many more standards. Of course, many codes could also be part of contract. This is of course listed in contract conditions that you have to refer to contract codes. These are contract codes. So it has become very complicated, very voluminous work, and ultimately it's a part of profession that all communication, all coordination that have been conducted are clubbed together, are given a shape, and those each and every page is signed by owner on behalf of engineer. Engineer also includes its initials, and representative of contractor who is there, who has been named, signs each and every page. It's not only that I have to sign only, but each and every page of all documents are executed, are signed, and this terminology of execution of contract. Of course, if there are some legal requirement, some paper, specific paper is required according to law of that country, that's also used. And this all combination, all total sorry, totality of documents come into play as reference. These are not ordinary documents, these are classed as contract documents, which has some weight. That these documents define responsibilities like charter duties, is kind of charter for both contractor and employer have chartered rights to each other. Means your right is to work on this contract is approved by me and my right to get this work back. You have approved this. I shall make you payment from time to time, and ultimately this shall be final payment, not more than this I can pay you, and I will not ask to do more work than this. There can be additions, there can be omissions, there can be deductions. That depends on variations. That is workable within certain percentage, permission, tolerance, or you can say variations. So we have to be very, very serious on this account. We have to consider it in true spirit, in right spirit. We have to take care of this very, you can say, professionally. It's a kind of professional work. Generally, such work of documentation is done by civil engineers, who are also called quantity engineers, means who can say have experience on contracting. They can be called contract engineers also. Contract engineers. Every civil engineer who has experience in contract can also be called contract engineer, because you should have knowledge of each and every requirement. Maybe you're not master, but you have perfect specialization on that, and which is very useful. You cannot go by comma or by apostrophe in contract language. Contract language is a little different than ordinary language, because sometimes we cannot use grammar or translation in that. But target is important. What does it say? Target is important. And clarification is also important. No mention should be ambiguous. Specifications and contract conditions must be clear. Drawings must be clear. Everything must be clear. And if it is not clear, it can be clarified. It can be confirmed. So when this stage is over, we can say contract entering operation is over. And when contract comes to this stage, that contract starts functioning, its time starts, and of course a date is fixed. Theoretically, that this is your contract completion date, number of days which are allowed or number of years which are allowed on this contract can be counted and started from date of contract award or whatever appointed date of contract, and that final date can be reached. But on this day or before this day, you have to finish this contract up to mechanical completion, and if maintenance also included, that is final completion. You have to do this. Sometimes we used to call in practical completion, or it's same as mechanical completion, and also final completion when you will be discharged from this responsibility. I accept those items which are warranted one. Means warranty items may stay for 10 years, 15 years, depending on what type of warranty it is. Structural work or mechanical work. What's warranty in that? It depends on various contracts and parts of contracts. The civil engineering contract, construction engineering contract, I'm just telling you is very easy to understand, but it's very much voluminous. And when something is very voluminous and there is work of contract, there is work of technical engineering, there is work of, you can say, writing, there is work of specifications, there is work of communication, there is work of questions answers, there is work of histograms, there is work of execution statement, there is work of, you can say, whatever else. These all are included in contracts in one form or other. And even after that, there can be disputes. Contractor is a matured party, we understand. That's the reason we respect contractor more than engineer, because it is contractor only who can do this job. This contractor or maybe some other party, they are considered professionals. Engineer is different type of professional. Engineer has to design or to supervise. In this case, engineer has to supervise all activities from 1 to 100 or 1 to first 1 to end 1. That is very important fact. One cannot speak against that. Why should one speak against that when it is a fact? So contract, everybody cannot understand immediately. New engineer who joins field, for that engineer, it's in interest of that engineer, that person, to learn contracts. Everybody is inclined to designs, they want to learn designs, everybody is inclined to field work, but very few people are there who understand soul of contract. I think it is question of mind setup. It's like that, oh, this person is contractor having lower profile than engineer. That point misrepresents everywhere. Don't forget, if you are dependent on contractor, you can deliver that project to your client, to your end user only when contractor works. If contractor doesn't work successfully, it shall lead to engineer's failure, it shall lead to owner's failure. And there can be created many complications, many mix-ups on that project. So you can say ultimately success shall be impacted upon, and if success is impacted upon, whole contract can be jeopardized, it cannot be completed, it can lead to disputes, and you have to ride over disputes, both parties, and that is not end of life, that can harm both. It's therefore sincere interest. In interest sincerely, I can say both should work sincerely, both should work in a perfect manner to do some job rightly. It is interest of everybody, contractors and owner or whoever else is involved. Every contracting personnel is like a contractor. It's not question of timings, it's not question of work hours, it's question of responsibility. Means it is you who are going to work this, not contractor. You have to think that way, because you have to learn a lot. I'm not saying having membership of institutions is important, that is important, but involvement of individual is more important, because members membership of institutions depend on that. That is reference only, that I'm this member, I'm that member, I'm this engineer, I'm that engineer. But that authority you get relates to your performance. If I perform successfully, certainly that's my reference. I can say this is my credit, this is part of my CV that I worked here successfully, and I can answer every question to that position. It's not question of reference only, it's question of knowledge. Knowledge is upgraded practically when you have delivered some work, you have delivered some requirement, means you have studied that very well. You know everything about that, whatever position you are in. Even if you are a surveyor, you must know, though you are not manager, but survey is very important. Land survey, contract survey, you can say every survey in that context, everything you can say, whatever you study for, you investigate for, that's a kind of survey. I am talking of coordinate survey, level survey, or you can say horizontal controls and vertical controls, which can lead to start of work and which are also included during intermediate stages of activities. So just like that survey, which may not be considered that important, but without that nobody can move, and if you move without that you can cause mistakes, errors. It's therefore very very important point to understand, to note that contract formation, contract acceptance, contract procedures, contract adjustments are very much professional. Sometimes it looks strongly very professional, sometimes it looks business like, sometimes it looks commercial like, and sometimes it looks very much technical like. From stage to stage it offers, but ultimately I say requirement, and the requirement means every requirement: commercial requirement, technical requirement, engineering requirement, safety, health and environment requirement, quality requirement, and all these and whatever else, all these sum up to delivery. And delivery means reliable delivery, safe delivery, functional delivery, performing delivery. And if you can do that, it's not one point, it's a sequence of activities, sequence from that stage when this project was conceived by someone. This all sum of stages comes to an end when project is brought into operation. Brought into operation or brought into use of society. At that stage we can say it happens like this. We have to keep this point in mind very well, and if we keep this point in mind, then we can understand value of contract. It's not simply mobilization that we have to concern about. We have to concern about from award of contract to successful handing over of contract, which includes every activity, every stage, every part of schedule and various schedules, which include everything. It's different kind of world. Many specialized people are involved, specialized in every sense of technical and commercial, contract or no contract, human resources employees and machines, and you can say whatever else. Many years you have to work, you have to stay on that project. It's like a part of life. Say you stay there for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's quite a large period. If you are successful, you can work successfully on that. Means it's part of your life, like you studied in university, you belong to university, you say I am alumni of that university. Here also you can say I am alumni of this project, because you spent a lot of time, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Same you spend on your education, degrees, 4 years, 5 years, and sometime, major part of your life goes in that. And when you come out of that, you say, oh, I did not learn much, but I now learned much. When I started this project, I did not know much, but I know a lot after going through this project. And that's where you can say capacity building of one is affected. and you become a part of that organization. That organization say that this person is good for me, this person is reliable, this person incorporated services, this person delivered us something, this person work. Of course, there can be errors, there can be mistakes, that's different. But you are loyal to that organization, you are committed, you are determined, and you incorporated, you included your services, you included everything in that one, and that's where it lies in just the place. So I think I tried to explain. I tried to explain means what is intention, what is you can say summary, likewise about contract conditions. This is, if you want to see some condition, I'll come to you. Now we can say, since award is over, we have to do contract, we have to do performance. We cannot sit just thinking that we have 2 years or we have plenty of time. We cannot say that. Plenty of time or no time. We understand our risks, we understand our topics, we understand speed of work, we understand everything. And time on contract is very significant. Even one day is important, 1 hour is important, If we keep in mind always that we have 4 years or 3 years for this contract, that picture shall not come out of mind. And always we shall be on that wealth, oh, we have plenty time. But we should not forget, time runs very fast. Contract doesn't run very fast. We have various critical stages, we have critical paths, we have critical activities, and we have critical arrangements. There can be anything, there can be, whatever expectations. Sometimes unexpected events come in, sometimes technical points come in, sometimes various other requirements that cannot be fulfilled immediately, those come in. So we have to understand that. As we said, we have to start mobilization, that is the important part. And mobilization is not that we can just go inside and start something. We have to first deal with those people who are responsible for this contract supervision or monitoring, and that is part of engineer on behalf of owner. It's step by step journey. Mobilization means pre-mobilization also we have work. We should start something, we can call it kickoff, and everybody has to know each other very closely. Everybody has to understand what is expected of them. Everybody has to understand each by certain talks, through certain meetings, through some documentation, what engineer expects from contractor and what contractor expects from engineer or owner. What is in mind of contractor, is that clear to engineer or there are some modifications required on that. These points are very significant from start of work, because the start of work should be very smooth. It cannot be defective. It should be well considered. It should be well defined for. We cannot read every paper, every word, but what is industrial practice, we have to take care of that. And it should match, it should fit in contract documents. We can say no contractor is interested to waste any time, any day, any hour to successfully complete contract. Why to waste time? If contract is serious, which organization should be? Which organization should not be serious, you tell me? Ultimate purpose of contractor is to deliver contract. And for that delivery, seriousness is required. Yes, you laugh, I don't say don't laugh, but seriousness of mind, seriousness of work, seriousness of contract must be understood well. Planning and scheduling division of contractors should be well prepared in advance to direct site responsible people, site manager, site leader, to chart our attack on all possible activities. When we say attack, it's something very powerful. Attack, if you do in time, if you don't waste time in attacking some item that is due for work, we delay. And if you attack in time, we understand now that's time, we have to arrange its resources and see resources are available. So we can attend that. We can attack that item. And there should be some person on behalf of contractor to think on that. How many items can be attacked together? Forget plan. Plan is there, of course. There are two types of plans. One plan is official plan, and the plan is in your mind. That's much more important than official plan, because you are there every time on site and you know what is best one for you, what is important, what's priority one, where you can advance further. That plan is day to day, week by week. That can even give plus point, because you concentrate on that plan without referring all time to, but you have a date on the every schedule. Your activity has to finish from this date to this date. Every activity date is there. That has to be met. So what we say, planning and scheduling division of contractors should be well prepared in advance to direct site leader to chart out attack on all possible activities. That is basic requirement. Nobody can stop you from that. Project leader should fix a kick start meeting with engineer or resident engineer if so appointed by engineers. Means fix a kick-off meeting and do something on that. Contractor formally meets resident engineer. Contractor formally meets resident engineer or engineer to confirm starting the project. Contractor submits third-party insurance documents and also performance bond of value defined. Contractor also submits proposed site office area and related infrastructure to support doing permanent works. The resident engineer then examines tabled proposal and approves it with certain modification if so required. All relevant, all relevant issued pertinent contract condition relevant at this stage are discussed in details and instructions are passed to contractor. Standard forms, if whatever used by engineer for purpose of formal submission, are also handed over to contractor and mailed as feasible. Now you can say after that next site meeting shall be conducted at site office probably, if site offices would be ready by that time, and if not ready somewhere else or maybe again in the same room. That is, the contract has to move to work on site mobilization with defined contract period, within defined contract period, and commission of all such site office to be used by resident engineer and staff as well as by contractor, agent and staff. All temporary services are provided in all offices, including sanitary, water and office establishment requirements. Once mobilization is completed, permanent works can be started. Once mobilization is completed, permanent work can be started. Though it's very preliminary statement, very brief statement, there can be more requirements depending on where do you work. There can be different requirements. When you work in specific areas, you work in oil sector, you work in operating areas, there will be many more requirements which you require to fulfill. And without those fulfilling, you cannot start work. We have discussed that at length in past also, like permit to work and like many such government permissions, or you can say if that situation, if that requirement applies, we have to deal with that accordingly. Permission is permission, that is part of contract. Of course, process takes time. We have to pay money also, but that's part of job, that's part of game. We can't do against that. We have discussed about brief mobilization, but we should not forget that is initial mobilization, but mobilization and demobilization sometimes keep on continuing. This is primary one that we have discussed. It doesn't mean that it's a closed chapter. You know, when when your project is for many years, long process moves on that. Long process. It's not one, it's not two. So much is moved on that. So many activities move on that. And we have to think about that. We have to keep on working on that. So many activities move on. So many acts go on. People shall keep on coming, machines shall keep on coming, keep on going out during entire phase of contract. It's not 1 month we say that is for start. Your mobilization is for 1 month or let us say 2 months, and due mobilization period is this, and that is beginning and end. But this continues. For example, your machines may come for some work and leave. You cannot say that's demobilization, but there is coming and going. Staff shall keep on coming and going, workers shall keep on coming and going. It's a part of job. That works accordingly. We have to keep that factor in mind. It's not simple statement, it's performance of work. Many key personnel may come, may go. So mobilization to start with has been over, but it doesn't mean, whatever funds or whatever allotment is done on mobilization, whatever pricing is done, that's not paid immediately, because that pricing with preambles, you can say mobilization and demobilization are included. Even if not included, it's understood that some amount is included, though we generally price that. And that amount is not paid just after you say my mobilization is over. That is proportionally distributed over entire duration of project, which clearly indicates that it's not just 1 month. This means you have done a lot on that you can start that one. You can start that activity of project. That's main point we have to consider in that. So we are talking of permanent works, we are talking of now work, we are talking of RCC buildings, which involve many activities that would be shown on level 1 schedule of planning. From site takeover to site handover, all activities related to all disciplines are included with prime start and complete time limits. These activities are further elaborated. These are elaborated on, you can say, on other level schedules, so as to control all works within defined time limits. Here, project organization plays a very significant part to be conducted by project leaders by support of planning engineers. All works are carried out by site leaders, site managing organizers, engineers based on this schedule, and day after another progress is achieved and monitored. All works should be carried out meeting contractual requirements without having any carelessness attitude. All related staff must be trained for all activities that must be carried out per defined methods and complying with required organization of specifications in all respects. Weekly reports are presented by planning engineer to evaluate real progress earned, value in comparison to planned schedule, and site leader can also do it. Reporting is a must. Reporting of real status is a must. It can be weekly, it can be fortnightly. In beginning, when work is started, there is pull up of work and it should be monitored properly. That's why weekly criteria weighs heavy. We have to understand this point clearly. We cannot waste time on unnecessary issues, and such issues are really very significant. In case there is delay, we notice delays on site progress. Achievements methods are adopted to check delays by extending work hours and also by importing additional resources from other sources. Whatever works are produced during 1 month are measured by planning engineer or valuation engineer, and payment due statement is worked out for submission to resident engineer. In case approved materials which are non-perishable are procured during this valuation period, that part value is agreed with the engineer or resident engineer, say 75%, though 7F it is written by error, no problem, it should be 75% could be added to works carried out sum. Contractual required deduction in line to condition within contract are deducted from each valuation, and final running sum reached and agreed between resident engineer and engineer. This valuation is approved by owner on recommendation by engineer for making payment to contractor. This is just formal statement what we have to do, what to perform. It's very common on these projects. We have to understand these conditions incomplete. We can say, as I said, if maybe I don't know where is my contract. Let me see if I can find it, because That's the important one. Euro codes. I have here FIDIC. Requirement to competition directive suit of contracts. FIDIC. Construction contract. Let us see this one. I think this is better to understand. If you can see this contract, you can understand. This is conditions of contract for construction, buildings and engineering, and work designed by them. Something else, There's some sequences here, but I'm interested in telling you sequence of items, sequence of articles. This will discuss later on. You can see these conditions, first of all, these general conditions, general provisions. These are contents of general conditions, and we can say it is a part of Red Book. Red Book, it is Red Book, Important book is Red Book. We have to get this into our being. It's very significant one here, Red Book. In this, general provisions are there. General provisions, then there's employer, clause 2, then engineer, clause 3. In stages, you see, first is general conditions, general provisions, then employer, then engineer, and after that contractor. Then after contract, subcontracting. This is major parties. Then you say other resources like plant, materials, and workmanship, and commencement, delays, and suspension. That's plant, materials, and workmanship, and then commencement, delays, and suspension. And then tests on completion, defects after taking over. Then measurement and valuations. There's some procedural, and variations and adjustments. Then contract price and payment, and termination by employer. Then care of works and indemnities. Care of works and indemnities. Suspension and termination by contractor also is there. Termination by employer, suspension and termination by contractor, and care of works and indemnities. Then exceptional events, you may say force measures. Insurance, then employers and contractors claims. And then disputes and arbitration. These are main. If you just have a look on these contents, you will get clear understanding how sequence it is, what sequence it is. Let's say general provisions are definitions, interpretations. You can say definitions, interpretations, notices and other communications, law and language, priority of documents, contract agreement, assignment, care and supply of documents, delayed drawings or instructions, employer's use of contractor's documents, contractor's use of employer's documents, confidentiality, compliance with laws, joint and several liability, limitations of liability, contract termination, employer, right of access to site, assistance, employer's personal and other contractors, employer's financial arrangements, site data and item of reference, employer supplied material and employer's equipment. Then engineer is the engineer, engineer's duties and authority, engineer's representative, delegation by engineer. Then engineer's instructions, replacement of engineer, agreement of determination, agreement of determination, meetings, then contract. Sorry. It is very important part here because I'm talking of contractors, contractors' general obligations, performance security, contractors' representative, contractors' documents, training, cooperation, setting out health and safety obligations, quality management organization and compliance verification systems, use of site data, sufficiency of accepted contract amount, unforeseeable physical conditions, rights of way and facilities, avoidance of interference access routes, transport of goods, contractors' equipment, protection of environment, temporary utilities, progress reports, security of site, contractors' operations on site, archaeological and geological findings. And in subcontractors, nominated subcontractors, and then you can do staff, engagement of staff and workers or labor for contractor, rates of wages and conditions of labor, workers, recruitment of persons, workers, working hours, facilities for staff and workers, health and safety of personnel, contractor superintendents, contractors personnel, contracts records, disorderly conduct, key personnel. And you can say plant materials and workmanship, manner of execution, samples, inspection, testing by contractor, reflex and rejection, remedial work, ownership of plant and material, royalties. And commencement delays and suspension, commencement of works, time for completion, program, advance warning, extension of time for completion, delays caused by authorities, rate of progress, delay damages, employer suspension, consequences of employer suspension, payment for plant and materials after employer suspension, prolonged suspension, resumption of work, tests on completion, contractors' obligations, delayed tests, retesting, failure to pass tests on completion, employers taking over of works and sections, taking over plants, parts, interference with tests on completion, surfaces requiring reinstatement, and defects are, these are all half clauses here. The defects after taking over. Defects after taking over. Now, these half clauses actually give input of contract. We have gone through what engineer is, what owner is, what contract is, what contractor is, what his duties are that. We have gone through that. You can see we have gone into very, very important phase now. Defects after taking over, when you take over. Completion of outstanding work and remedying defects, the cost of remedying defects, extension of defects notification period, failure to remedy defects, remedying of defective work off site, further tests after remedying defects, right of access after taking over, contractor search, performance certificate, unfulfilled obligations, clearance of site, the measurement and valuation. This is item 12, clause 12. Work to be measured, method of measurement, valuation of works and omissions, the variations and adjustments, right to vary, value engineering, variation procedures, provisional sums, day work, adjustments for changes in law, adjustment changes in cost. Then 14 says contract price and payment. let's let's read these conditions, then we'll take up later on. Contract price, advance payment, contract price, advance payment, application for interim payment, schedule of payments, plant and materials intended for works, issue of IPC, payment, delayed payment, release of retention money, statement and completion, final statement, discharge, issue of FPC, final project now, this final payment certificate, cessation of employer's liability, currencies of payment, and termination by employer. It's very important one because employer terminates and contractor can also terminate. So notice to contract, notice to correct. We have some problems, we have to give notice to correct. Termination for contractor's default, valuation after termination for contractor's default, payment after termination of contractor default, termination of employer's convenience, valuation after termination of our employer's convenience, payment after termination for employer's convenience. Then suspension and termination by contractor. Suspension by contractor, termination by contractor, contractor's obligations after termination, payment after termination by contractor, then care of works and indemnities, responsibility for care of works, liability for care of works, intellectual and industrial property rights, indemnities by contractor, indemnities by employer, shared indemnities, then exceptional events, notice of an exceptional event, duty to minimize delays, consequences of an exceptional event, optional termination, release from performance under law, insurance, general requirements, insurance to be provided by contractor, employers and contractors claims for payment and OIT, and then disputes and arbitration, constitution of DAAB, failure to appoint DAAB members, avoidance of disputes, obtaining DAAB's decision, amicable settlement, arbitration, failure to comply with DAAB's decision in no DAAB place, general conditions. So these are actually certain conditions that we have to go through, and all contract is dependent on these conditions, and we have to maintain quality of such contracts, and that's also important, and we will discuss this for we have to say what documents we are, what does it mean. We have to go through all that. So we'll take care of that, no problem at all. We'll take care of that in time, in due. Now, due to some reason, we'll close this. 1 hour 30 minutes is over, it's fine. We have to move on and on, likewise. And we'll see later on.